Alchemist, this is Wealth Principle 43. 43 is understanding the power of demographics. There are 4 steps to understanding the power of demographics. As real estate investors, we must understand the market we're investing in. And if you're on TikTok or you're on Instagram, you missed what I just said. So this is understanding the power of demographics. There are 4. We're going to talk about them in a little bit. Before we talk about them, I want to remind everybody, we do the 52 weeks of wealth so we can double our income, and double our net worth. Fancy Cam, if you're still committed to the cause, doubling your income, doubling your net worth. All right. I just don't want anybody losing sight of the target. Now, outside of this community, we get judged because people are like, well, all you talk about is money. Well, money is the major concern that most people have all of their entire lives. That's why they work 40 to 50 to 60 hours a week. What are they doing it for? They're doing it because they're obsessed with money. As soon as they get out of their job, what do? Have fun, play, spend the money, and then have to come back to work the next day. They say a JOB, a job, stands for just over broke or just enough to come back to work. Hence, if you've ever had a job, a JOB, excellent. And at some point, you're going to want to get out of that job. Hence, care if you got out or you want out. Got out or want out. All right. Now, I'm not saying jump out right away. Like I made the mistake of jumping out too soon. I literally did. I jumped out way too soon, and I had to struggle for a year to catch back up. I was making $75,000 with my employer, and then I quit my job, got into real estate as an agent, and made $17,000. So that was an epic fail. And then the next year, I made $115,000. So I was able to make it back up. But that whole year of making $17,000 was not something that I had to do. Hence, if you understand, there's a better way to do this. You don't have to put yourself into such stress and anxiety, especially if you have kids or a spouse. I went through a divorce, which is why I continued to tumble and went through a lot of emotional turmoil while losing all that money. So if you're paying attention, you're like, oh my God, like he's telling me quit my job. I'm not saying quit your job. I just want to be very clear. Do not quit your job. Keep making your money. And then on top of that, side hustle, right? The 24 hours in a day, you sleep at 8 of them. You got 16 hours to make money. If you're already committing 8 hours to a boss, you got another 8 hours to commit to making extra money. Hence, Cam, if you're misusing your time, you know for sure you're misusing some of your time. All right. I just want to be clear that it's your fault. It's not the economy's fault. It's your fault. It's not your employer's fault. It's your fault. It's not where you live's fault. Hence, Karen, if you understand, it's not anything but you. You're the one. You're the reason. Okay. All right. You're the one who negotiated your salary with your employer. You're the one who negotiated the hours you work with your employer. You're the one who negotiated what you're going to do with yourself after you got out of work, right? If you're sitting there watching Netflix, you're getting your Netflix on, or you're watching Amazon Prime, or you're scrolling through Facebook, watching other people's content instead of mine. If you're scrolling through on Instagram or TikTok, look, that's your choice. Hence, Cam, if you know, we can make better decisions. We got options. We got choices. We're human beings, right? We got the best computer up here, right? No, nothing more sophisticated. They can't reproduce what you got, the ability to solve problems, right? That ability to recognize patterns and then change what you do, your habits. You're able to reprogram yourself. Hence, Cam, if you recognize you are the most sophisticated computer on the planet right now. I say right now because coming soon, Elon's working on beating you. So we got to out-hustle that. We got to out-hustle the robots. They're coming. So understanding demographics. We are real estate investors. Chance to Cam, if you're a real estate investor. Excellent, excellent. What about business owners? What business owners at? All right. The only way we build millionaires, by the way, for anybody new, I'm on a mission to build 100 millionaires who are inspired to build 100 millionaires. If you're on the mission to build 100 millionaires or become a millionaire, Chance to Cam, if you are also going to build millionaires. Awesome. Excellent. All right, so we're on the same page. If you don't want to help others after you get yours, now is a good time to log off. If you're cool with helping others once you've made yours and you're willing to share with other people, excellent. Stay on the call. I'm going to teach you how to get the right people in front of you, how to identify the right markets, and how to build your business in a scalable way. Today, we're just talking about demographics because that is the key to finding the right amount of people. Now, if you're a real estate investor, you don't want to go to a market that doesn't make sense, right? Hence, Karen, if you want cash flow in your market, we're going to talk about the 4 steps to making sure that the marketplace has the properties that you're looking for. If you are a business owner, you also want to follow the same exact simple process that we're going to use as real estate investors to decide where do you market to find your money, your clients. You cannot make money where there is no people. Who here said they're an introvert? Anybody ever felt like you're an introvert? Like, I don't want to talk to people. Yeah,
Yeah.
nobody wants to raise their hands, but you already have. Look, we are all introverted until we're broke enough to decide we got to go talk to people. We're all introverted until we're emotionally or like relationship wise broke enough until we're like, I got to go get another communication with another human being. Who here has felt the urge to just go out and meet somebody? Has anybody ever been so lonely you're just like, fucking got to get out of my house, right? Who has ever been so broke that you're like, I'll go talk to everybody today just to get a paycheck, right? Who here's felt those before? And if you've never felt those, well, you haven't hit the bottom yet, and you got to go hit the bottom first. Who's been so uncomfortable with their body, like just like you look down, and you're like, oh, that's not who I am. That you just like you start changing your diet. What's the gym? Who's hit the gym? January's coming, right? We're all setting goals now. So understanding who has what you're looking for will allow you to get more of it. So we're going to start in Wealth Principle 43, which I'm going to share on my screen in just a second. Pull this Facebook thing down. Wealth Principle 43, understanding the power of demographics. And we're going to go through the 4 tips for finding the best places to invest in real estate. Number 1, you must understand population trends. Now, the population trends are things like, is the population growing? This is my favorite one. This is like the most important one to me. Or is the population shrinking? If it's shrinking, I probably won't be there for very long. If the population is growing, there's a good chance that more and more appreciation, higher in rents. Now, what are the age and demographics of the population? I know that older populations tend to be harder to raise rents on. I know that younger populations tend to be pretty easy to raise rents on. So we're constantly looking for the younger populations with higher incomes. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. Number 2, the economy and employment. Now, there were a lot of steps to deciding whether this is the right economy or the right employment. You can go online. You can figure out the Census Bureau gives you a lot of information around like how much income is coming into a city. These are free resources. These are the steps you're looking for within the economy and the what do I call it? Economy and employment. Step 1, point 1, who are the major employers and are they from diverse industries or one sector? In Fall River, where I grew up and I started investing, we had one major employer. It was the textile business. And as soon as textiles went to China, the whole city became depressed. We went from a city of population of 150,000 to 86,000 people over 50 years. Hans Camp should recognize that's a bad drop. It was 100 years. That's a bad direction to be going in. Number 2, are major employers expanding or contracting? Look at your city. Are big employers building more people, building more businesses, taking more ground, or are they selling off some of their assets, shrinking their office space, having a smaller footprint? Number 3, what is the rate of new business growth in the city? Are new businesses starting up? Do you see new businesses popping up all over the place? Do you see more on Yelp? When you look at the business owners in that market, are there more of them showing up? This is research you have to do. Another one is Starbucks. Is Starbucks in the town, right? If Starbucks there, if Starbucks is, it's a good sign that your city is growing. Chick-fil-A is another one. If Chick-fil-A is in town, there's a good sign that your city's either on the mend or it's growing. How does job growth compare with the national average? Look at the national average. Look, the city that I grew up investing in does not have a great national average of job growth. We haven't seen a lot of appreciation, but Boston blows past the national unemployment and job growth. And that's a great market for appreciation. What is the GDP of a particular city? Gross metropolitan, oh my God, who wants to say this? Metropolitan. Metropolitan. Excellent. Let's give Eric a round of applause. What is the gross metropolitan product, and is it growing? This goes back to what is the main thing that they're building and growing and putting out. Like Fall River was textiles. We saw Detroit drop because Detroit was cars, and then the city was completely destroyed when the car industry went under. And they said, they call it the Rust Belt, completely wiped out, all the jobs gone. House prices went down to, you could buy houses for like $4,000 a house, or $400 in some pretty rough neighborhoods. Look, it costs way more money to build a house in Detroit than it does to buy a house in Detroit. So the market got destroyed when those industries got wiped out. Third, salaries and income trends. And again, all of this information is stuff you can find online for your city. The income trends that you're looking for are salaries. Are incomes increases or shrinking? Are the employers able to pay more, or are they cutting back and paying less? And then what percentage of the population is living below the poverty level? What percentage of the population is living below the poverty level? If they're living below the poverty level, there's a good chance rents aren't going to go up for a while, right? Because they're already struggling. They're having a hard time. These are not cities that we tend to like to invest in. Number 4, price to rent ratio. This is a little bit of math involved, but basically what it says is if rent is cheaper than the cost of a purchase, it's not a very good time to purchase. But if rent is higher than the cost of the purchase, the monthly payment of the purchase, then it makes a lot of sense. And what that looks like is this simple formula: the average monthly rental divided by the average home price equals the price to rent ratio. Another way to look at that, because I knew everybody was gonna be like, what the fuck, is this formula right here. I put this together on a spreadsheet this morning, and essentially if the home purchase price is $550, we'll talk about average home price in Arizona right now, $550. Down payment is 25%. So you're putting 137,000 down. And Mitch Jorsky, you can keep track of my math here. That made the rent 2,100. Now, if the mortgage payment, this mortgage payment right up here is 2,200, that technically is a $100 loss on paper until you start looking at the expenses, the repairs, manager expenses, which is another $500. So your technical loss would be $600 per month. That's not a good market to purchase in. Hence, if you understand, it's got a cash flow. That's the opposite of cash flow. That's what we call negative cash flow. So before we go into the book of the week, I've got an additional book that I want everyone to read if you're a multifamily syndicator. Or I got 2 books. If you're looking to invest across the country, you're looking to leave your market, invest across the country. The first one is Emerging Markets by Dave Lindahl. It's been around for a very, very long time. This book will let you know where to find the emerging markets. It will talk about everything we just discussed. These are the tips of how to do it. But Emerging Markets is a book that is based on, I don't know if I'm in the right place. Like, should I invest here? He's going to talk about tertiary markets versus primary markets. The other one is Big Shifts Ahead. And this book is predictive. They use analytical data to identify when and where the demographic shifts are happening, where people, migratory patterns, and where people are moving to and coming from, so that you identify where to get ahead of the market. I'll give you a little teaser. Most like you read the book and mostly it says people are moving to the south. If I were to simplify this book, it would say people from the north are moving to the south. Hence, Cameron, this is probably a book you should read as well. There's a lot of details. It's crazy detail, both of these books. But these are not the books that are for the book of the week. So without further ado, Michael Shine, this week's book of the week. What is it? Hold on, before I bring you up. Hold on, I got the slideshow I made. See it? Everybody see it? Book of the week?
Yeah.
Let's bring on Mike Hughes, the keeper of the books, the holistic attorney, the closer. Mike, you're up.
All right. So this week's book is The Laws of Human Nature by Robert Greene. And yeah, there it is. Walter has it. I'm listening to it on Audible. Wow. So to describe this book quickly is not an easy feat. I guess I would say that it goes through the 18 personality characteristics that we have. That's a pretty important part of it. But it's really sort of what were you saying, Walter? You said when you talked to Vinny, he wanted to focus on mindset, but you were more on the analytical side. Is that what you?
I was begging him to go analytical because I know that's what the audience likes.
Yeah. So this book is really just analytical side of that, of how to deal with human beings and how to see all the personality traits, and lots of really cool stories that go through history to keep it interesting. Yeah, it'll really help you. I mean, if you were cynical, you would say, well, it's a cheat code to manipulate people. But I tried to see it as more of a positive way of seeing your own personality traits and also seeing those of other, to get to a better place in cooperating with them, working with them. And so that's what the Laws of Human Nature is about. It's got really great stories. I was re-listening, and the whole story about Richard Nixon and the dark side is really a cool one. So when you get to that, think of me. But yeah, it's a great book and I highly recommend it, but this one is a thick one. This is not a read on the beach for one day. This will take a little while, but yeah, highly recommend it. Thank you.
Let's give Michael Shine a big round of applause. And Mike, I've got to say what you just said about Robert Greene in general stands for all of his books. Robert Greene is got to be the most cynical author of all times. He wrote the book 48 Laws of Power, The Art of Seduction, obviously the Laws of Human Nature. And like every one of his books, he makes people's like humans sound evil. Like he's like, this is why people do this and people are doing it this way. And I'm just like, I don't know, maybe that's just the result of what they're doing. But I think psychologically, everybody in their head is doing things because they're a good person. I like to think that most of the world is operating out of a good place. And some of the things that they do can be perceived as negative. I know occasionally I've said, broke people suck to hang around. Now, I actually genuinely love all people, but I know that I get an itch whenever broke people are like, oh man, you can't do that. You can't be successful. It's impossible to buy a deal like that. You can't buy houses with no money down. Hence, Karen, if that would be frustrating if you're hanging around somebody telling you can't do something all the time. Yeah, a little frustrating, right? So I actually don't like hanging around with broke people. Now, I do it out of charity. I do it because it's the right thing to do to occasionally go out and like teach a few people how to make money. Hence, Karen, if you commit, you'll do the same thing over time. You get yours and you go back and like give back some knowledge. But the truth is, like, that sounds like a dick thing to say. But that's just, that doesn't make you a bad person to occasionally be like, you need to go to friends and family and like communities that are like, hey, let's give it a try. Let's do some math on how it would work. This is how we actually physically do this. And so there's an economy challenge going on. There's an opportunity for us as real estate investors called a recession. Who here's heard we're in a recession? Who here, when you heard that real estate prices might go down, you got excited a little bit? Who here, when like you were like, oh my God, like this could bring things down, you got like, woo, jazzed, like, let's go. And then I talked to my mom on Thursday and she's like, oh my God, honey, so many people are going to get hurt. It's like, yo, mom, like, it's like telling a medic that people are going to get hurt on the battlefield. Like, no shit, what, I shouldn't show up? Like, I shouldn't go do my job. I shouldn't go do what I'm good at. We're not excited about them getting hurt. What we are is excited about the opportunity to solve a problem, right? There's no doctor on the planet who is truly excited about somebody's injury, but they are excited about solving the problem. Hence, Karen, if you know that. You ever watch House? I watch House. I'm like, this dude's not excited about the problem, but when the problem's there, he's excited that he's the one who's chosen to fix the problem, right? He's not out there hurting people, but when the problem comes into the emergency room, you get excited about the ability to solve the problem. So as you're going out there as real estate investors, understand there's a lot of problems to solve. They are coming. People are going to be doing subject to, which is, Larry's in here. He just created his courses. He's offering that to people. There's going to be opportunity for wraparound mortgages, seller financing. There's a lot of opportunities coming because we are in a recession. This is the best time to become a real estate investor. This is where prices are going right now. You saw this at the summit. This is where I think we're kind of at in the cycle. If you remember the cycle from the 100 Millionaires Summit, I said that in a cycle, you've got optimism, excitement, euphoria at the top. Then after that comes denial, fear, and panic, and then depression. And then after that comes hope, optimism, and we continue the cycle again. Who remembers this from the 100 Millionaires Summit? Remember, as I pulled this up on stage, shared a little bit about where we're at in the economy. So this is realistically where I think we're at. I think we're maybe even a little bit further on the other side. So what Darina asked me to talk about today was the recession-proof challenge, which, if you're familiar with Black Friday, that's where everybody gives sweet, sexy deals on their products. Well, I didn't give a deal. Instead, what I did is I created a combo. So we're doing Names on Deeds, which is the training course where I teach people how to put your name on a deed. Who here knows that's how you become rich in real estate? You just got to own it. It doesn't matter how you owned it. I mean, as long as it's moral, ethical, and legal, but it doesn't matter how you got the money. It doesn't matter like where the property is. As long as your name is on the deed, you own it. Now, managing the property afterwards comes from some other course, but this is just going to be teaching you how to get rich, how to find the money, how to negotiate the deals, and how to put your names on deeds. Hanson Canfield, it's a very valuable course. It used to be a 2-day training I did, and I recorded it, I put it out on Alchemist Station, but here's the challenge. People don't watch on-demand training. Who noticed that there's a lot of free courses, you haven't watched all of them yet? There's a lot of free stuff out there, right? So instead, what we're going to do is a live workshop called Names on Deeds. I'm going to bring the workshop back. It's about 4 hours. We're going to teach it in January. I'm going to give that to everyone who signs up to the Recession Proof Challenge today. So the Recession Proof Challenge today, you're getting both Names on Deeds and the RPC. Who here's already been through the RPC and absolutely loved it? Thought it was fantastic. Yeah, because what do you do in a recession, right? This is the big challenge is a recession coming. How do you prepare yourself for that? Well, the solution is the recession proof challenge. Like you got to go and you got to get this first step, which is a strategy, and then you got to get the tactics, and then you got to get the implementation. Who here's ever gotten strategy and tactics and never implemented? Maybe you read a book, took a course, right? You know what I'm talking about. So what we're going to walk through in the RPC, if you've already been through it, you know what I'm talking about, is we're going to go through the strategy of how to find the right people to invest with you, the tactics, the conversations, the negotiation, the documents you use in order to get them to work with you, in order to keep them coming, because it takes a little while for a private money investor to decide to finally invest with you. They don't just meet you for the first time, be like, hey, here's, take my $100,000, or here, take my $250,000. They got to trust you. They got to know, like, and trust you. Who's heard this before in sales? They got to know, like, and trust you. Yes. So in order for you to get somebody from the point of, I met you at, you know, a golf course or the restaurant, or you're my doctor and just having a conversation with you, to the point where they're giving you money, there's a series of steps. Now, obviously, I like to throw bonuses in. This is what you're getting when you sign up for the RPC. And so I'm going to very quickly share what that bonus is. This is one ticket to the 100 Millionaire Summit, which I actually, Dorina just changed it to the Recession Proof Challenge, Real Estate Proof Challenge. Is that true, Dorina? That changed now? Interchangeable. You can either choose the Recession Proof Challenge, the Recession Proof Real Estate Conference in Orlando, or you can choose the 100 Millionaire Summit. Hanson Canfield, if you like options, all right, you got to make your choice. You make your options. And the other bonus is the 5-day pre-challenge. This challenge doesn't start for 2 days. We're starting the RPC December 5th. So you're running out of time to come up with excuses. Usually in the hero's journey, first somebody is given the opportunity to jump into something, and then they say no the first time. Who here has said no to becoming a real estate investor the first time you heard about it? You're like, I don't know about that, right? I don't know about that, right? Or became somebody told you should be an entrepreneur, you should invest in crypto, you should invest in stocks. And the first time you heard it, you're like, yeah, not right now. I don't have time for it. But then eventually you showed up on a call like this. So you showed up in other communities where you're reading books and you're studying and you're taking down properties and you're calling real estate agents and doing deals. Well, this is kind of the same thing. Don't let the opportunity pass. The call to action has occurred. We're going to give you access to the pre-challenge, and it starts in 2 days. So the challenge starts on Monday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This is the link. Click the link. Go take action. It's challenge.alchemiststation.com. And then we're going to open up to questions. As soon as I click this slide again and again, it says take action now. Hanson Karen, if that was a pretty cool presentation for a free access to Names on Deeds, let's give Dorina a round of applause. It's her idea to make sure that everybody got a little extra bonus. Also, it doesn't hurt that most of you have been having conversations with me over the last, we'll call it 5 weeks. I've sat down with everybody who signed up for Mastery. There's over 50 people. And what I found was most people are concerned about either I don't know how to evaluate a deal, or I don't know how to raise the capital for the deal, or I don't know how to actually make sure that the deal goes through and closes. And this is my top level players, people who've paid me over $10,000, $15,000 to have these conversations. They're still having these challenges. Hanson Camera, if it's okay, if even your wealthy friends still want to learn, if they're like, how do I level up? In fact, Mike Shine, remember Names on Deeds was your idea. Mike was
Names on Deeds.
Mike, remember the conversation we had? There it is. He's got the share.
Yes, absolutely remember. I absolutely remember that. Saying, hey, nice job, Mitch. Mitch too. Brother from another mother. Yeah, I think I said to you, I don't know how to get the money.
Mike came to me and he said, man, like I got, Mike was a millionaire already at the time. And he came to me and he said, man, like I spent all my money on real estate. All my money has been put into real estate. Like, how do you get more money after you spent all your money? And I told him, I was like, well, it's really names on deeds. You just kind of process and you put your money here, and then you get other people's money, and then other people's money, and then you put it in the deal, or you negotiate seller financing, or you do subject to, or you do wraparound mortgages, or you go and you do a bridge loan, or you could do a partial seller financing, right? There's like a couple different strategies. And Mike was like, yeah, okay, can you do a course on that? It's like, because I brushed it off. I made it too simple. Hands the camera if you want details. You want to know specifically how this is done. All right. Let's give Michael Shine a round of applause. About 3 years ago, Mike asked for names on deeds, and it has become a workbook. You can see it up there. It became a workbook. It became a course, became a 2-day event. And now we're going to turn it into a workshop so that it can be more efficient for you to get the knowledge, get the information. Everybody who comes to the workshop, I'm going to give you the workbook. Well, you're going to get the digital workbook. And yeah, it's going to be awesome. It's going to be super cool. So for $97 today, you get into the challenge with us starting on the 5th. And then you get access to the workshop in January. Was that good? Was that a lot of information? Cool deal. Awesome. Let's give Dorina one more round of applause. Let's give Mike Shine a round of applause. If it wasn't for everybody who I communicated with, I probably wouldn't have tossed that one in. So this is thanks to you guys. This whole concept of becoming a millionaire is a fucking journey. It is not easy, although it is simple. We got to stay focused on what we're doing, right? It is not about I'm making $1 million, about who you become. It is about this journey and having fun with the process. I've had a conversation with Thurman this week, and he put his list up and he said, I'm gonna work hard, no Netflix, no days off. I'm not going out to party. I'm not spending any time with women, and absolutely no fun for the full year because I'm a millionaire this year. And I was like, bro, like we might want to adjust that. You might want to spend time with good people. You might want to spend time with women who have a positive mindset. You might want to spend time with friends who are already rich. And you might want to have a lot of fun during this year while you're building wealth, while you're supporting other people. And if you're going to watch something on Netflix, watch I'm Not Your Guru by Tony Robbins or Undercover Billionaire with Grant Cardone. And you can learn quite a bit from watching the right things. Watch The Secret, because that, although I think they oversimplified this whole idea of thinking yourself to richness and the law of attraction, it's still got some good stuff in there about you kind of do have to clearly visualize what you want to create, and then you got to go take some action to get there. So I want to open it up to questions because I see Thurman's hands is already up. Let's give Thurman a big round of applause, by the way, because if it wasn't for him pointing that out, I would forget that I also used to believe that. When I was absolutely broken at the bottom, I was like, no fun, no games, all work, no play. And as soon as I made money, I blew it because I had so much pressure around money, and money felt like work. And so when I got a whole bunch of it, I got sick and tired of it, and I got rid of it as quickly as I could, which meant I had to go work again. Hence the care if you don't want that, if you want to learn from the mistakes that the people ahead of you have already made. Excellent. So this mission will not self-destruct, but your mission is to go and identify this weekend. Actually, very quickly, I'm pull out a piece of paper. We're gonna do an exercise. Do an exercise every week, applicable. I want you to look at your market. Please go and finally do the research around the market you're investing in and identify what are the challenges, what are the opportunities, is the economy doing well, is the economy hurting? I want you to go back and actually do the research so that you know for sure that you're in the right market. So step one, right at the top of the piece of paper, I want you to research your population trends. Is the population growing or is it shrinking? Is it aging or is it a younger population? Step two, write this on the piece of paper. I want you to go and research the economy on its employment. Who are the major employers? What industries are they in? Is there new business growth in the city? Those, all the things we talked about in this conversation earlier. And step three, I want you to go and find the salary and income trends. Are salaries increasing or are they shrinking? Are employers being able to pay more or less? What is the percentage of the population that is living under the poverty level? And then four, price to rent ratio. Please go and do the price to rent ratio on the average sales price of a property. If you're talking about multifamilies, you're going to take the total number of units and divide that by the original price. So you're going to get a price per unit cost and then identify the rent and the mortgage. Hence care if that still makes sense. We're just dividing by how many units are in a building. Excellent. That's your homework for your current market. Go and get the information, go and get that knowledge, because it's going to allow you to raise capital when you're talking to investors. Who knows? You got to be trusted in order for people to give you their money. So if you have this knowledge about your market, it's going to make you more trustworthy, because now trust comes from technical skill, from competency. So they got to know and like you, yes, so you can be a really charismatic person, but without some of this fundamental knowledge, why should anybody invest you? Why should they trust you? And Scan, if you understand you're trustworthy, you are trustworthy. All right, so those 4 steps are going to help you become more trustworthy, and they're also give you more confidence when you're going out and making decisions. So that said, I'm going to pause the recording and start it up again. Go ahead, Thurbin.
Well, yeah, it wasn't a question actually. I was just gonna talk about the recession proof challenge. So it was just going through it as just a lot. I'm definitely gonna because I think just going through it, I was just trying to understand everything. So I think the second go around I'll definitely grasp it a lot better. And definitely taking the action steps has been the hard part too. So it's been fun. I highly recommend it to anybody who's on the fence about it.
Let's give Thurbin a round of applause. Look, the recession proof challenge is not easy. It was not designed to be easy. It was designed to get you 100 people who are millionaires into your database. That was its design. Who would like 100 millionaires in their database? 100 high net worth individuals that know you, because it's not about who you know. I don't care what people say. Oh, it's all in who you know. That's a lie. It's not about who you know. It's about who knows you. And that's how you get cash flow. It's how you get capital to be able to be raised. So that's what we do in the RPC. And yeah, it's work. I'll be real with you. It's work. Go ahead, Larry. I see your hand up, brother.
All right, can you hear me? I'm having, my current situation's a little rough right now, because I'm on a Caribbean Sea and a cruise ship.
This sounds very rough. We're all crying for you right now.
But I wanted to chime in. You said something about looking up, places to invest. So as you know, I'm the subject too. I love it. Here is a great thing you should look for. Any new houses that have been built in the last 4 years. So if they're a new development built in the last 4 years, start to build your database of the people who bought these houses in the last 4 years. They're all going to be underwater next year or the year after. And these are all the sub 2 people. They're just going to be sitting there waiting for you to pluck them out. And no one else will be able to buy their house unless you know how to buy them sub 2, because they're going to need to move. They're going to get divorced. They're going to lose their job. Something's going to happen to them, and they're all going to be available sub 2. I'm sure you're just going to be picking them off.
Let's give Larry Steinhaus a round of applause. That is gold. That is gold. And it is not exclusive to just developments in the last 4 years. This would also include syndicators who purchased properties in the last 4 years, because their notes are going to come due. It's going to be large multifamily investments that were either built or purchased in the last 4 years. Because again, commercial, every 5 years, they've got to go do a refinance. And now with interest rates almost double what they were, these guys are going to be hurting. So yeah, this is a great piece of advice, Larry. And you know what? Those mortgages are assumable in some cases. So they can assume the mortgage and then be
they're not
forced into the
assumable.
refi. What is it?
The residential mortgages are not assumable.
No, the commercial,
okay,
the commercial
cares?
mortgages would be
The
assumable.
commercial, some of them are, yeah. Some of them are, yeah, sure.
Yep.
But you still have to qualify. That's why I like sub 2, because I don't care what my credit score is.
That's one of the big benefits. And that's why this is the easiest time. And like Larry said, look, the prices might not happen tomorrow, but they're coming. It may be in a year, it may be 2 years, but here's what happens. The people who are building their database yesterday and last month are the ones who have the opportunity to build those relationships and have those connections. When the market turns, they're going to call the person who they've been talking to. Remember, the person they know, not the person who sends that brand new mailer or that first phone call. It's going to be the person that they know, that they've been having a conversation with. And Scan, if you understand, you got to be known. All right, go ahead, Larry.
I'm buying properties now for people I've spoken to 4 or 5 years ago. They're finally selling me their property. It's funny.
Is it funny? Is he getting lucky, or is he just doing and doing
Well,
and
it's
doing?
ironic, I guess, is really the word I'm using.
It's that gangster
For 4 or 5
follow-up.
years, I've been talking to people for 4 or 5 years. And there it comes.
That's how it works. Let's give Larry Steinhaus a round of applause. Steven, I see your hand up, brother.
So first of all, Larry is getting lucky, laboring under correct knowledge. That's the kind of luck that I like, and he's proving it. But that's not what I want to talk about. So, but good job, Larry, of course. But here's the thing, and I'm going to go back to the recession-proof challenge. And the recession proof challenge is great. Don't get me wrong. But if you want to make it greater, then you got to do it again and again and again and again. And the reason is, just like the 100 Millionaire Summit, we're all on a high. And if we don't see Gwalter for another year, you know where we're going to be? Exactly in the same place we were. I've gone through every one since you started, Gwalter, and I've gotten a little bit better every time, right? I didn't even start using, maybe I shouldn't say this. I will though. I didn't even start using Alchemist Connect until last month, it was a month or two before I really started getting into it. But because you get thrown so much stuff, right? And you're like, oh my gosh, but then you just pick one and you do that. And then the next time you're like, hey, that was no problem. And then now I do 2 or 3, and then maybe 4 or 5. And then you went from 5% to learning that 100% to 10% to 30%. So you gotta rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. The mother of learning is repetition, right? And that's the beauty of the recession proof challenge is every month. You listen to the same thing, but guess what? Every month you're saying the same thing, and I'm like, oh shit, I'm ready to learn that now. Okay, so this is good. This is like okay. So in the beginning, if everybody wasn't here, we were talking about the things that happened in Thanksgiving or what we're going to be doing. Well, I've got a daughter-in-law to be that is wanting to flip houses. She's 18 years old, has no concept, looking for what Gwalter calls the unicorn, and and she has no idea about any of the stuff that you went. So I'm gonna be buying those books for her, and then I'm gonna say, hey, Wealth Principle 43. If you don't listen to any of them, you really should just take that 20 minutes and just listen to this and get an idea, right? I'm not saying she's wrong to try and do this, although the stats show that if you've never flipped a house before, this isn't the time to learn. But I won't go down there because I'm not the professional. Maybe I'm wrong. Okay, so I'll turn that over to Gwalter for him to do that. But anyway, going back, rinse and repeat. And so what I'm saying is, Gwalter, this deeds thing that you're about to do
Names on deeds.
might be a rinse and repeat thing too.
Oh, it is. Let's give Stephen Beaver a round of applause. Who here has been to Names on Deeds and knows they're going back? That it was just one of those trainings. Yeah, Names on Deeds is a lot like the RPC. We know the stuff. Even me, when I go to teach Names on Deeds, and even when I'm teaching the RPC, I'm listening to the lessons again and saying, how can I implement this back in my business again? Like, how do I take this back into my business and do it again? Because these are principles. This is essentially the function is sales. Like Names on Deeds is all about acquiring more of your product. And if you haven't acquired your product recently, it's probably because you're missing or forgot one of the fundamentals. Who here has forgotten the fundamentals before? Like you just, forgot to go take action on something. Like you've been in a relationship with your spouse for like years and years and years, and you forgot to say, I love you today. Who here knows that's a fatal flaw to the relationship? That's not going to make your day better. It's going to probably make your day either mediocre or worse. So we forget the fundamentals. We forget the principles of being in a great relationship because we're too close to it. And sometimes it's really important to be reminded, like, I've got to go and put in offers today. I've got to go and negotiate certain things. I have been negotiating Names on Deeds for years, and I have still forgotten sometimes to go and ask for seller financing. Like I'm just, hey, would the seller take a note on this? I have absolutely made mistakes by just forgetting or omitting things that I knew for certain, for sure, when I was on a webinar or when I was writing something or when I was, in my house, but out in the moment when I was speaking to the seller, completely forgot, gone out of my head. Who here knows that happens? So it's good to be retrained. And then what you said about the RPC, yeah, the RPC is 21 days because that's how long it takes to build a habit, but it's supposed to be a habit. So every month you go back through and you take the action steps, reach out to 10 people, put 4 in the database, make a social post, read a book a week. Those things are habits that help people, get to the next level. And we talked about this book this week, The Laws of Human Nature. We read a book a week. You know why? Because that gives us a 52-1 advantage over the rest of the world. The average person reads one book, they don't even finish that book. Whereas in this community, we read one book a week. Even if you're reading half, that's still giving you a monstrous competitive edge over everybody else. CEOs read 50 to 60 books a year. Hence, if you agree, you're the CEO in your business. That's right. So you got a responsibility. Read the books, but do not just read the books. Read the books, take the action. Right? Read the book, take the action. Read the page, turn the page, text somebody to go do something. Right? Be building your team so that when you're at a seminar, you're not taking notes anymore. Fuck taking notes at a seminar. When you're at a seminar, be texting your team what their job is now. Hey, I want this done. Go build this. Send somebody this. Hire the VA. Get it, get things done. When I don't sit at a seminar with a notebook, I sit at a seminar with a cell phone and I'm just firing off responsibilities. I'm firing off tasks. I'm firing off, hey, look into this for me. Go do this. Can you contact this guy? Hands to the camera if you understand. That's far more responsible. That's far more productive, right? I like it. If you think you're going to do this all by yourself, man, have fun making $250,000. That's the max I could ever make by myself without any team members, without any employees, without any staff, without any partners. I made about $250,000 a year by myself. Now, once I expanded into a team, though, that's where life got a lot more interesting. And I got to take back all the stress of what I was doing daily. I was able to change it to be a much better lifestyle. Who here wants to make more money, do less work? We agree. That's the intention. Awesome. Deborah Felder, I see your hand up, girl. I wasn't ignoring you. I promise. I saw your hand.
No, go ahead. No, mine is just something quick. As far as the $97 you say, if they sign up today, what about the people that's not on this call that may be interested? So can they have like can I get an extra day for my people to shout out to them?
Hell yes. Let's give
Okay.
Deborah Felder, yes, until December 5th.
Yeah, bam, that's it.
As long as my Facebook ads are running, you got access. So until December 5th, you can do it.
All
And
right.
like you said, like I say all the time, Deborah, look, tell me you don't like my hair, right? Tell me you don't like the fact that I shaved my unibrow in the middle here. Tell me you don't like that I haven't gone and got my teeth fixed. I got the gap in the middle, but don't tell me that you don't got $97 to go make to learn this process.
$97. Thanks, Walter. That's all I needed.
Absolutely. Let's give Deborah Felder a round of applause. She's amazing. She's been through the challenge multiple times also. She's a doer. She takes action.
I love the challenge because everyone has different questions. We have different answers for different people. Some questions I want to ask, but someone asks them for me. So that helps me out a lot, So it's just a challenge. I was on Jen's call live yesterday. She has a good interested live on Facebook. So it's just getting the knowledge, getting back, trying to, get back. That shit ain't easy though, but I can do it because I don't have nothing else to do, got to figure this out some kind of way. So it's all good.
The time is going to pass either way, right? Either way, 3 years is going to pass by. Either way, 5 years is going to pass by. Who here's already spent 3-5 years trying to figure it out, right? We know the time passes regardless. Let's go out and take some risks. Let's go out and I don't mean like taking risks. People think I take risks. I don't take risks, right? I calculate, I make investments, I have conversations. I learn from people smarter than me. I reach up to my counsel, but I do look like I go out and I'll take the risk of being rejected every day. Every day I'm willing to get on the phone with somebody and be told no. Every day I'm willing to get out on the phone and be like, oh, do you want to become a millionaire? And they're like, nah, money's not important to me. Well, okay, next, next conversation. You're not the one, right?
And Walter, you want to know what's so funny, Walter? This morning I had that same conversation with someone as far as the economy, because here in Fort Lauderdale, Amazon was trying to take over the swap shop. The swap shop is something dear to us, because that's where everybody they've been making their money for years and years and years. So Amazon tried to come in and take it over, but they can't, so I was actually I don't know if you was in my brain, bro, while I was drinking my first cup of coffee, but I promise you, I had this same conversation with a person this morning about the economy, where they build that, a lot of developers, they're building here, but a lot of them is backing out because of insurance in Florida. So, but that's so funny that, you be thinking like me, huh?
Great minds think alike. We're all real estate investors. We all have the same fundamental principles of how we make decisions. So that's fantastic. Let's give Deborah a round of applause. Go ahead, Mike. I see your hand, brother.
I just want to say that
you owe me a rap quote.
I got to meet Deborah at the summit, and she's amazing, by the way. If you're here and you see her and you get a chance to talk to her, she is a go-getter and she's awesome and she has the right mindset. It's just a pleasure to meet and just love her. So
Oh, thank you, Mike.
Yeah.
Walter, that's the stuff you're supposed to be recording, bro. You
It's
messed up.
recording, girl. I gotta record it this time.
Thank you, Mike. I
We'll send you
appreciate
the
that.
recording, Deborah. You can use that on your website.
I appreciate that. Thanks, Mike.
Mitch, you got to get us a quote, man. What's a rap quote related to demographics, knowing your people? Is this you got something about the hood for us?
That's more pressure. That's more pressure than my book of the week.
I don't know that there's
Give us a
something that's
rap quote that has to do with
like demographics. Like,
Come on, man.
let
You
me
think
circle
consistent?
back to you in like 3 minutes. I just sat
I'll
back
give you-
down.
I'll
I had to
give you
step away for a
something-
moment.
I'll give you some time. I'll give you some time, Mitch. So Walter's golden nugget for today isn't actually what he said, but what he said that people probably didn't hear. When Walter asks somebody if they're interested in making $1 million and they say no, he goes on. He doesn't try to convince them. They're not his avatar, right? That's huge, right? We get into this concept like everybody should do what I'm doing. No, everybody shouldn't. They're not ready. They're not a fit. Maybe they don't like real estate. Maybe they like Bitcoin, or they want to build their business or whatever, right? Doesn't matter. Doesn't really matter what their reason is. If it's no, he just moves on to the next person, right? Very efficient, very efficient. And kind of, I think maybe
Sell or
he
be
knows his
sold,
avatar.
right? Go.
Yeah, let's give Steven Bieber a round of applause. And I see a lot of people who I respect as very talented salespeople nodding their heads while you were saying that, Steven. They're like, yeah, exactly. Don't waste your time on fools. Spend your time on people who want what you've got, right? Who are in line with you. And I will add to that, Steven. Like, I'm always asking, like, well, who do you know? Who do you know who might be interested in what I got here? Who do you know who's interested in being a millionaire? I know everybody's got that one person who's annoying in your family who's like, they're all about money and hustle and doing business. You know, who's that one person? You know, obviously, if you're on the call, you're that person. So you're the one in your family where they're all like, well, okay, like family time. We don't have to talk about money today. So yeah, it's on to the next. There's so many people. Remember, 8 billion people on the planet, or we're getting close. Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, I'll just say that if you're gonna hang out with Walter, you're gonna talk about money, no matter what. That's his comfort zone. We were in Roatan like the first time we ever went here, and he's talking to my like 9-year-old son, like, how are you gonna be a millionaire? What's your plan? Let's get a YouTube going. And I'm like, dude, let's just go snorkel. He's like, no, this kid's got potential. Let's go get it.
Noah coming soon. No, hold on. Noah's not the Jonah. That was Jonah, right?
Jonah, that's right. Yeah.
Noah,
Yeah,
I'm just waiting
YouTube.
for him to start doing fitness videos, right? He's got the biceps, right? He's been working out. He could be an Instagram influencer like tomorrow. He's got to start, recording while he's working out.
All right, I'll talk to him about that today.
And then start selling like a protein gainer or something with an affiliate link.
I love it. I love it.
Go ahead, Mitch. What is the rap quote of the week? Understanding demographics. Come on, man. Somebody's got to be out there being like, this is where I pushed on the corner.
Hashtag go see like every Jay-Z song from his first 2 albums.
See what I mean? I knew you had something.
How about ain't no mountain high enough? That's an
There you
oldie. It's
go.
not a rap one. Ain't
Oldie but a
no
goodie.
valley low enough. Ain't no river wide enough to keep me from making money with you. Wait, I might have changed that a little bit.
I like the adjustment. I'm okay with it. We'll take a couple more questions while waiting for Mitch. Mitch, the scaredy cat, Jaworski, to get
Apparently,
us.
I'm not getting away with doing nothing today, huh?
You're right. I think you're dialing in. It's got to be a Jay-Z quote. There's no getting around it. I mean, Jay-Z is all about the demographics. Questions or comments? Anything about? We can go specific to your market too. I don't mind. I've done a pretty good job at understanding most of the major markets in the country. So I'll mute your mic. If you got questions about where to invest, where you're investing right now, feel free to ask. This is your chance. I'll tell you, if you don't ask, then it's not my fault if you don't know.
Yeah, I got one.
Yeah. Oh,
Are-
Oh, how quick that was. Go ahead, Thurman, then go ahead, Josh.
No, Thurman, go first.
so are there any I guess less popular pockets of Florida that you think are like opportunities right now?
I'll let Mitch take that because he's got his favorite. Less popular places in Florida to invest, tertiary markets.
I nor confirm or deny any allegations made in regards to these comments. We all know what I love about where I live in Florida. Good old Ocala. Only place-
Ocala.
One of few of places that still is not developed and has a major interstate running right through it.
Let's give Mitch Dorsey a round of applause. Durbin, I've been hearing it for years. He's like, you know what we need to do? Ocala, Ocala, Ocala.
I've been
So-
saying it for like
I mean,
3
it
years
makes
now.
sense though.
It makes a
It's
lot.
like-
Mitch is the most analytical person that I know. So when he's
I mean,
when he's saying something, I know he's just a little ahead of his time, and I'm gonna catch it. I'm gonna catch it.
because every time you drive out there, like, because I've gone there, like as a kid, just growing up, I'd passed through there a few times, and one of the things I've always noticed is just like it kind of looks untapped, like with just a bunch of land out there. Oh, okay.
But they have a few stores out there, like they built a lot of few stores, because I've been looking out, well, I like the country parts because I be trying to look where I could build container, a community of.
Hold
shipping.
on, Deb. I can't go into Ocala on the 52 weeks. I gotta pull this back a little.
Yeah, but I've been thinking about that, looking at that too.
I mean,
Go ahead,
Ocala,
Josh.
Pull it back.
Ocala is the
Okay.
horse capital of the world.
Yeah, Darina will tell
I'm
you
sure
that it's built a
Darina
horse
loves
stadium.
that.
So
And
we
the
can't go
villages-
into Ocala.
And the villages just keep getting bigger and bigger. I saw a bridge over like, I think it's like Route 70. And so I was speaking to a local realtor and he's like, yeah, that bridge that says it's like a bike path for the villages. He said that wasn't there a year ago. So they are just expanding like crazy in that area. Yeah.
Yeah, they've built the World Equestrian Center that they're actually applying
See,
for the
this is what
status of
happens. This is what
of
happens when you talk
hosting-
about Ocala.
hosting international competition. You know, it's like if they can get approved, which I think they will, that area will even explode even more. And that's the
Hey,
reason it's, yeah,
good enough for
it's
John Tra-
huge.
It's good enough for John Travolta. Should be
So
good
I have
enough for us.
another area that I'm looking into investing similar to
Thank
what
you,
Thurman was
Josh.
talking about. And yeah, so I want my question, guys, is I wanted to know what lists are you guys pulling for sub 2 or any list right now because of the market switch, everything right now. I need to know this. Why? Because I need to have an approach. I have a partner now that I'm helping find bird deals, and I need to have an approach.
Awesome.
And we're looking forward to do some sub 2 as well. So if you guys can give me some info, that would be nice.
Yeah, so Larry Steinhaus actually gave that away during the call. He said the last 4 years, people who purchased property in the last 4 years, like 4 years ago, 5 years ago,
Okay.
those are people who are going to be open to subject to, because they got their mortgages low and cheap, like interest rate wise, but they overpaid, or they paid what the property is going to be about worth. And I will say, I was having this conversation with Melanie Santos and Greg LeBlanc yesterday. I had two separate calls, and we were talking about the market. Q2 of 2021, if you look at the prices of Q2 2021, that's about what I believe the market will be at across the next 3-4 years. So anybody who paid that kind of money in like 2019, 20, 21, their
So
properties are
recent
probably
home
worth about the
buyers.
same right now. Go ahead.
Recent home buyers.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, not this year, because
Not this
their
year,
interest rates were
but-
too high for you to want
Yeah.
to take over that mortgage, but last
Yeah.
year, yeah.
Okay.
Because remember, they're gonna owe about what the property's worth, but their interest rate will be lower. So they're not gonna necessarily be losing money, but they're not gonna be gaining money. Now, people don't sell a house they just bought, right? Like they don't sell a house they just bought this year or last year or the year before, but you get to 4, 5, 6, 7 years, that's the sweet spot of when people start selling. But people who bought 4 or 5 years ago, they could sell right now and you'd make a pretty decent
And be
profit.
okay because they got some equity. Yeah.
Correct. You got it.
All right. Sick.
Awesome question.
I got more. Oh yeah. All right. So Durbin was talking about developing a city. I have an area where I am investing. If you want to know where I am, you private message me because it's a secret in my eyes. I have a belief that this is going
Mitch,
to be
is
a
this one of
big
your
city.
students? I can't tell anybody where I'm investing.
I mean, he used to come to my
No,
meetup.
But I
in
will,
Delray.
it's just like, I don't know, everybody keeps talking about inventory is low. So developing is going to be serious right now, right? So,
Developing, well, the developers are pulling back right now, mostly because the lenders are giving them a hard time.
okay, yeah,
Yep, developers are just pulling back, just they're cautious. Remember, 2008 was not too long ago for these guys. Especially the guys who've been in the business 20, 30, 40 years, like they're very cautious. And so you're seeing major developers just pulling back a little bit,
Okay.
you know.
yeah, I'm just holding on to the land,
Yeah,
to the right moment.
absolutely. As long as the cash flows,
Yeah.
you can
I mean, the taxes are dirt cheap.
farm sheep on the land, you'll still make money. Like just as long as
Yeah.
you get some sort of cash flow, farmers
Yeah.
market out there. Go ahead, Mike.
Well, I was just wondering, because, they talk about like 2008. I was certainly a closing attorney at the time when everybody said, oh, you'll be able to refinance out of this adjustable rate mortgage. But those don't, I mean, they do a little bit, but they don't exist like they did back then. I don't do a lot of closings with adjustable rate mortgages. So I'm just wondering why people think that it's going to adjust up. I mean, people have rates in the 3s and the 2s. So, I don't know if it's as clear cut as Larry was saying it is. So.
Well, the subject to attorneys don't like it. It's because obviously the lenders have a due on sale clause, and
Yep.
it's like, legally, is that really the right thing to do? But essentially it's just a quitclaim deed. Like when you got to be careful around how you do it. You got to make sure you clearly communicate with the seller that this is what's happening. Look, the mortgage is still in your name. I'm just going to own it. And then, legally, it's not illegal, but it is certainly not in the benefit of the bank. And that's kind of on the seller. It would be fraudulent on the seller's side for them to still have the mortgage and not be the one who owns the property. Hence the camera, if you understand, fine on your side, not on their side. And that's kind of the thing that they're looking at when they're selling those. But yeah, I'm not an attorney, and this is not legal advice.
Yeah, I know. I have a lot of trouble with that.
I know you do,
People come to me
Mike.
and say, let's do subject 2. And I'm like, I get it. I can give you a piece of paper that says I gave you all this advice and told you not to do it because it violates one of the clauses of the mortgage. And then my partner, who's a lot more conservative than I, said, well, that's all well and good, but when the shit hits the fan, they're going to say, well, it was just one of the documents the lawyer told me to sign, so I just signed it because I trust my lawyer. So that's
Yes. So that was one of my questions I forgot about. How do you make sub 2 work? Because you need a lawyer, and then if they don't have a lawyer, right? If you have a team of lawyers, I can see it working. Like, okay, your lawyer then refers them a lawyer, and then they understand what's going on, But
There's a course on that in Alchemist Nation. There's a subject 2 course, and that's probably the easiest way to answer all these, because now we're going into
some coaching and
Hey,
training.
yeah,
here.
that's
All right.
You can call Saul from Better Call Saul. He'll take this case.
Better call Saul.
Hands
I'm
if
sure.
the Q&A sessions were valuable today. Got a lot of stuff out of them. Awesome.
Yeah.
Mitch Jorsky, you are the last and final words on this call. What
Just
is
not
your
giving
rap
up
quote
today,
for
huh?
Demographics.
Just not giving up. My brain is not working. So in the end, when it comes down to it, we will default to Ryan McDermott, aka the Wu-Tang King.
Wu-Tang Clan.
And to adjust the phrase a little bit, we'll go with cash flow rules everything around me. Cream, get the money. Dollar bill, y'all.
In that case, Wealth Principle 43, understanding demographics. Go out, hug somebody share a smile, a hug, a conversation. Let them know that you care about them. And also, if they're not your target avatar, go out and find somebody else who is, and let them know you're interested in doing business. Cheers to your success. We have a choice. Always work with the best.
Always work with
The best.
Before we sign off, I got to tell you what next week's book is, because I know a couple people want to read the book now. Next week, Wealth Principle 44, systemize your business so it works without you. Hands to Cam if you like that idea. You want to systemize so it works without you. Excellent. Doesn't happen overnight, but the book of the week is going to be The 4-Hour Work Week by Tim Ferriss. Again, 4-Hour Work Week does also not happen overnight, but the idea is possible, and it's how, you know, we run 11 businesses. I counted them up yesterday. It's 11 businesses that I'm a partner in. And if it wasn't for Tim Ferriss teaching me how to automate my businesses, then I would probably be all over the place. Hence, Cam, if you understand, I'm on my way to reach Richard Branson. Right? He's got 400 businesses. We'll just keep catching up. So book of the week next week is The 4-Hour Work Week. Have fun reading it. If you're reading The Laws of Human Nature, put some time aside. This is 2 giant books back to back. Both of these are thick stacks. This one is no joke, right? And then this one over here, again, not a small book. So you got some reading ahead of you if you're going to keep up with us. Cheers to your success, your choice. Always work with the best. Love you guys.
All right. Appreciate it.